Hello and welcome to another episode of the File Card Podcast. I'm Mike. I'm here with my brother Joe.
Hey, what's going on, everybody?
And Joe, we're doing pretty good. This is our second show in 2 weeks, so we're back at it. Just so everybody's aware, this could stop at any moment, and it could be 6 months until we record a show again.
Well, it almost stopped tonight. This almost didn't happen. We literally spent the past hour and a half trying to configure this.
Yeah, we've said it before on the show, and we're not sound engineers, and whatever's going on with Skype and our ability to record this show is a bit of a mystery, but we seem to have some decent connection right now, so we're going to give it a go.
We'll run her till she dies.
Right, which I did listen to our last episode, and I was thinking if we had good connection, better host, and good content, it would have been a pretty good show.
Needed all those things.
Besides those three things, it was actually rock solid.
Yeah, let's talk about last show real quick. You're a jerk. And let me tell you why you're a jerk. I was simply trying to tell the folks at home that for the first time since the early 90s, I had gotten G.I. Joes on my actual birthday. But then you were making me feel guilty telling everybody that I forgot about the G.I. Joes you bought me last year, which you gave me on March 17th, the day of the Ohio Toy Show. There's a big difference between the two. I didn't forget. I was just simply trying to say I had gotten G.I. Joes on my actual birthday at the age of 38.
All right. So what? Anything else on that subject matter, Joe?
I had a whole bunch a couple days ago, but I don't remember now.
All right. So what have you been doing this week in regards to Joe's and getting through the quarantine?
Oh, goodness. So the quarantine has me going full neon. So I'm still at the Eco Warriors. Spending a lot of time on eBay searching for those guys. And I managed to acquire Ozone this week. But of course, I couldn't make it simple, right? Initially, I pick up a loose Ozone without any accessories. But I spent a ton of time on there looking up all of them and found one. Finally popped up at a real cheap price. Figure only, but the paint seemed to be perfect. So I jumped on that one. And then I was just like, okay, well, now I'm going to find the accessories. That shouldn't be a problem. Well, it's actually a little bit harder than I expected. Not that they're not out there, but the helmet, the paint is just falls off of that thing over time. So finding a good one that came with the rest of the accessories at a fair price, because I'd already bought the figure, adding that into it was a little bit difficult. So I finally do find one. Then it gets more complicated from there. So the guy's asking a certain price, and it's fair, 100% fair for it. You know, the buy it now price or best offer. So I offer him a stupid low price. And then he comes back with, a counter offer, which was still a fair price. But of course, I can't accept that. Why make things simple? To make a long story short, I go back and forth with this guy a bunch, but over the course of like 4 days, because he waits the maximum amount of time to respond. Like they have 24 hours to respond, and he takes 18 hours to respond.
Like how? What are we talking about here? Like dollars? We talking about like $1 or $2?
Yes, we're talking about 4 days of agonizing over a total of $6 back and forth. When I would have been happy just to pay what he was originally asking. I don't know why I do this to myself. And then the whole time, I'm stressed because I'm thinking he's just going to decline all the offers, and then I'm going to have to pay full price, which I should have done from the beginning, but it won't be there because somebody else will snag it for that price. But lo and behold, after 4 days, I finally acquired it, and it'll be here next week.
Okay, how much money did you save?
Like $6. No, it wasn't even $6. Like $4.
$4.
$4.
Like
4 days of anguish for $4. It's ridiculous.
And
I'm
now
done.
You're just upset about it. So it's not even like you're touting this as a victory. You're just angry at yourself for torturing both yourself and this poor eBay seller.
Yeah. Here's the thing is, I was the one in the wrong the entire time.
Absolutely.
I think he finally accepted my offer just because he was tired of getting messages.
I hope he's a listener, and we just want to extend an apology.
Yeah, I'm really, really sorry about that.
Here's what I think you should do, Jeff. To make it up to this guy and make it right, whatever the return address is, you need to send him 4 $1 bills. It's just a little note that said, "I'm sorry, I'm better than that," and just leave it at that.
I think I am done with like the bartering of eBay. I think I'm done there.
Right. No, we've talked before though. Like we do enjoy like the dickering back and forth in a shop, right?
Absolutely. And at the show, the one-on-one-ness of it. But the whole online thing of sending a text message and then some numbers pop up. And I mean, it's great to save a couple dollars, but to go through all of that for 4 days, wondering if you're going to get that figure and then lose that figure over $4, it's just literally silly. I mean, if you're talking $40, then you're talking about the value of something. And when you're talking $4, you're just being cheap. Whether I got it at 20 or 16, does that really matter at the end of the day if this is something I want in my collection forever?
Did you spend $16 on the accessories?
And the second figure.
Oh,
okay. So now I have what I believe to be 2 minty-ish figures. And then hopefully I'll be able to put 1 real mint figure out of it. And they both look spot on, actually. But you never know till you get it home.
Yeah, they're
not. Open it up.
I mean, how many? I mean, they're not. One of them isn't, anyways. And that's not anything against those sellers. It's just hardly ever does anything ever look as good in person. I've been very unhappy with most of my online purchases. That's just me. I might be bitter.
Yeah, you are.
It's true, though. Every time I buy online, I end up calling you cussing on my way home from work, complaining about the figure I bought.
I feel like you don't spend enough time zooming in at looking at the pictures.
Yeah. I have impulse buying sometimes.
I don't think just sometimes.
I can be an impulsive person in general. It's amazing that I've been as successful in life. Not that I've been that successful.
That's what I was just wondering. When you called yourself successful, I was like, we have 2 different standards of success.
By successful, I mean I get to go to work every day. That's what I'm talking about. All right, well, we're done talking about you. I had 2 G.I. Joe thoughts for the week I wanted to share with you before we get into our questions. Well, we got our questions coming up, and I'm very excited about those. We got some really good ones. Okay. All right. So I've talked about this at the last show, Joe. My quality of figure is a lot different than it was when we first started collecting again last year. You know, scuffs, paint chips. I could never deal with like broken crotches or broken thumbs. But the paint and some loose joints, that stuff didn't bother me. But as I've collected and collected and collected, I want better figures all the time. Mm-hmm. So one night, work's been stressful, and I just needed something to do. So I just kind of just went through my tote, and the guys that weren't displayed, I just kind of picked them up, looked at them, and I realized like about half of my guys, I kind of want to upgrade almost half of them, maybe even more. I didn't like put a keep and not keep pile or anything like that. I didn't get quite that detailed, but just as I was going over them, I want to upgrade, but like, I guess my thought is like, okay, well, what do I do? Do I try to maybe sell some of that stuff to raise some money? Do I hold on to it? Because here's the thing, like individually, I wouldn't want to get rid of any of them, right? So most of my figures that I want to upgrade are probably anywhere from $15 to $25 figures. And like, to be honest, I wouldn't probably take $15 or $25 for any singular figure, because it's worth it to be like, oh, well, I'll have an extra one. But like, if I could sell them all, then that would be different, right? Like, I would be like, okay, I could go out and upgrade. Does that make sense?
Yeah, well, I think that's a real natural progression just for any collector. When you start out, you're trying to acquire, you know what I mean? And you're just excited to see them. And then you pick them up and you enjoy those memories. But as you're going on, you dive a little deeper and you start to notice those imperfections. You just want to upgrade, and that's normal. So I wouldn't feel bad about it or be worried about it whatsoever. And the other thing I would do is, I don't think I would personally sell them, because at least this is how I'm looking at it for my collection, is I have stuff I want to upgrade. We all do. But I'm not getting rid of that stuff until I upgrade. Like Altitude from Sky Patrol, 1990. I want to upgrade him. But I'm not selling my Altitude until I get another one. And then I will. That's how I look at it.
Okay, so the second thing I was thinking about, so spending a lot of time, we've been talking about eBay a lot, which is funny because our whole show was really me and you going to shops, and now it's you and I thumbing through eBay on our smartphones. Okay, so I've been thumbing through. So one of the things I looked up was like mint on card, and I've been seeing, there's just deals, especially like when the card back is, maybe got a solid crease in it, or the bubble got a crack or is broken. Like you can get some pretty good deals for figures that are going to be basically mint, right? And just a little bit higher than you would pay loose. But for a long time, I was like, oh yeah, get those and open them, right? I would tell you that all the time. Yeah. But I've kind of like morphed into, I'm not sure that I can really do that anymore. Like, if I got something on card, I don't think I could open it.
Let's get into this. So this past week, I opened up 2 items that were considered, mint on card or sealed on bag. And the first one was the Eco Warrior Flint. And I made this statement or talked about last week or on the show how the paint just wasn't perfect. The reason I made that statement is you can just tell a huge difference in like an 85 G.I. Joe to a 91 G.I. Joe, at least in that figure. Like just the lines on the paint, the streaming of how they did the tampos or the way they did the cuts on the gloves to where the actual arm sleeve started. Like, there was no runs or waves or anything like that. That just happens. Or the wear on the head because of the bubble. That's just something that happens over time.
Right. Almost 30 years in there.
Right. And then I got the Steel Brigade from my wife and my kids, and it had the slit in the bag, and we talked about that, but I still took it out. And I have to admit, I was excited to have the mint up in the display case, but I did feel guilty about it the next day when I really thought about it.
Because there's only so many of those left, right?
I mean, it was open. It didn't have the weapon in the bag. I don't know. I guess you took something away from the value when you did that, and then, like you said, you assume that there's only X amount out there.
Yeah, it's a limited number still left. All right, well, let's get to some questions. First off, I was so excited to see how many questions we got. I don't know what you thought, Joe.
Yeah, I put it out there. I was hoping we would get 1 or 2.
Yeah, so listen, I totally... when you put it out there, I thought, oh my gosh, this is going to be so embarrassing if we don't get any questions. I was like, I guess maybe we could just make up Twitter handles and we could, I kind of thought that's what we would have to do. But it was cool because some folks that listen to the show sent us some questions. So thank you very much for doing that. So that
we appreciate your time.
Yeah, so me and Joe didn't have to fake this. These are real questions from real people. Are you ready for this, Joe?
I am.
Question number 1. It comes to us from Hillbilly Harper. And I want to just stop and say a minute for Hillbilly Harper. He is so kind to Eli on who does Slaughter's free time videos on toy pics on Instagram. He always has really cool comments. So I really appreciate that, and Eli always enjoys the comments and the likes. So thank you very much, Hillbilly. Okay, Joe, you get to answer first. All right, hey guys, what is your favorite G.I. Joe figure?
All right, so I just have to say to Hillbilly, hey, I hope that was the question that you asked us, because I accidentally deleted it from our Instagram when I was trying to read it. Like, I don't know how I did that, but yeah, I definitely did that. So I believe this is the question that you asked us. So,
Joe, technology is passing us by. We are very young for this to begin to happen to us.
I know. Do you know, every time something like this happens, do you know what I recall?
Mom and Dad trying to set the VCR recorder?
No. The conversation we had last year with Jason down at Joe Fest when he was talking about, I don't know what he brought up, but he was just talking about how people our age should be able to handle technology. And he looked at me like, you agree, right? And I, obviously agreed with him. But every time I mess it up from here, ever since that moment, I remember back on that conversation.
Oh, it's passing me by. And it's a shame because I have to know it for work, but I don't know. Maybe I peaked too early.
Oh, there's no question you did.
All right, back to the question. What's your favorite Joe?
All right. I don't know. This is just ridiculously hard question. So I'm going to answer it in two ways. I'm going to answer it one as a figure, and I'm going to answer it as a character. Okay, as a figure, as in we already know Steel Brigade standalone, my favorite action figure. My favorite character, I would have to go back to the Sunbow series, and I battle with this one, but I think it's Flint. I think Flint is my favorite character in G.I. Joe.
Now he's probably the closest to John Wayne, right?
Yeah.
Like Duke's maybe a little too buttoned up to be John Wayne.
Flint's just in the action, you know? Like, it didn't matter what role John Wayne had in one of his movies. He was still in the action.
Right. He was never getting captured and then getting rescued. At least not that was
right. And he was never up on the hill giving orders or back at the base. Right. He was there, and and now it's Flint.
Duke gets captured way too much.
Yeah, it's kind of what he does.
Right.
And what Scarlet do? Scarlet rescues him.
Right. All right. So I was thinking about this one. And it's funny because it's cool that this question was sent in because I'd been thinking about this same topic this week because I started looking at Metalhead. Mm-hmm. And Metalhead was one of my favorites when I was a kid. And I was like, oh man, maybe I'll order a Metalhead and get it here and I'll be able to talk about it on the show, tell everybody how it was my favorite. And I'm like, no, that wasn't my favorite. And then what I realized is I kind of like for figures, I kind of had like a favorite, it's kind of like a new favorite all the time because you wear them out, you break thumb, you break the crotch, they get loose, loose joints or whatever, and they become the kind of the dead guys on the battlefield, right? We've talked about that before. The guys with the loose knees put in sand, they got dropped first.
Right. Well, I mean, it was the rotation. You know what I mean? Like you said,
right.
Every few months there was a new lineup,
and there was somebody new that you like. So a couple of my favorites, right? My favorite character from the cartoon, and a guy I wanted my whole life, and just recently, got when I got back into collecting, was Shipwreck. Just very, very cool. I want the tattoo. Not on my forearm. I don't think my job would like that, but I'd like to get that someday. But I would, so Shipwreck's number one. I also really liked Metalhead. I also liked the Black Viper. I remember getting him and really liking him, which was kind of different because I didn't really like the non.
You're breaking up a little bit. What Viper did you say?
Black Viper.
Yeah. Okay.
So I was a big fan of him. So those are probably some of my top three. But anytime I get the G.I. Joe collector guide out and flip through it, I about every 3 pages I could probably pick another character and say, you know what, that's actually my favorite. So I have quite a list. Really big fan of Starduster, and that's maybe a little bit more recent. Definitely don't have one, and I'm not sure I will for a while, but I really do like Starduster. So that's kind of a moving target and a hard thing to pin down.
It is. Do you remember your last favorite figure?
You mean from my childhood?
Yeah, like the last one that was yours and the figure you were on the battlefield.
Right. So like the person that was Mike.
Mm-hmm. Or just like your favorite in the series, or in the Deke series, something like that.
Yeah. No, Clutch from the Marine Corps. Where the one where they made
yes. I remember when you got him. I was out of Joe, but I remember when you got him.
Yeah. He had a pretty cool pump shotgun, and Yeah, just like the colors weren't very realistic in any way, right? He has a bunch of orange and stuff on him, orange and yellow. But there was something about the mold that I liked, and for some reason I was drawn to. So that was probably my last one, and that would have been what, 94.
Yeah, that would have, yeah.
In that range. So
it was Big Ben for me in 91.
Nice. That was your last toy that you were into?
Yeah, that was the last one I was super excited about. Like 91's got some really, really great figures, but that was like the last great one for me.
Yeah.
Like if I could only have one from the 91 line, that would be it.
And we're going to have to talk maybe in the next couple of weeks how you finally secured your Big Ben.
Yeah, we will.
All right, Joe, next question. And this comes from Toby C. He said, I had a quick question for you guys. Do you buy exclusively through eBay in the wild, or have you ever bought through social media such as Facebook and Instagram? I have bought stuff all three ways and can see the benefits and downsides of all formats. So, Joe,
I'll let you go on first on this one because my answer, I know, will be a little longer than yours.
The more long-winded of the two of us you are, yes?
Possibly.
Maybe you're just the more well thought out, right?
I mean, that's always how I look at it.
It's all about perspective. So, okay, so I buy every way. I'll go with probably the way that I bought the least, and that's Instagram, and that's just because I feel like I miss those auctions. There was a great collection being sold, and I think he's still selling some stuff I haven't noticed lately, but the Buy My Joe's guy, he sold a big collection, and I had tried different times to get in on those actions, on some of his auctions, but I would miss out all the time. So, what about you, Joe, with Instagram? What's been your experience?
I absolutely love Instagram. I think that's where online you can still find your best deals, or at least where I've had the best luck, especially with accessories.
Facebook, I don't do Facebook a ton, just period. I personally don't have a Facebook, but you've bought some stuff on Facebook, haven't you?
No. All of mine's either been or besides eBay, it's all been on Instagram. So okay. Facebook, I haven't utilized at all. The File Card Podcast is on there, but me and you really aren't on there. And we are members of some groups, and we do looking around in there and do some posting. But I seem to miss everything on there, kind of like how you were talking about Instagram. You know, not on there very often. So when I do see a post, normally if it was a good deal, it's gone by the time I would be interested in it. The other thing that's kind of got me down right now is my PayPal account is suspended. So somebody in China keeps going and buying wormy worms. No matter how many times I change the password, they still get in there and start doing it. And I have to file a claim. So after like the third time, I just leave it suspended. Like I don't even want to mess with it anymore. So
how are you buying on eBay?
Oh, just hook a credit card up to it and you're fine.
Okay.
This allowed me to get away with a few things.
What are you have never tried to figure out what wormies are? Wormies?
They're literally worms. Like worms. Like it's another company in China that you buy worms from. And yeah, I don't know. I looked it up. Somebody in China is buying worms in China on my PayPal account.
That's amazing.
Yeah. And
how much money are we talking each time?
Like $50-$60.
You got it. So eBay's kind of probably our second most popular way to buy stuff. And it's funny because we kind of started talking about this naturally earlier in the show, just with everything going on and shops in our area being closed and probably most of the country, you know. Kind of the only way for us to shop for Joe's right now is eBay. And man, I don't know what it is. I'm a bit of a spontaneous person sometimes, and so I tend to have buyer's remorse a lot on eBay. So I spend a lot of time scrolling and liking and getting in on bids early, but I rarely win anything, and then when I do, I'm generally disappointed. So that's not the seller's fault. That's my fault because I don't look close enough.
I enjoy eBay for those items that are really hard to track down at like toy shows. Like if you're looking for a certain weapon, any accessory, there's no guarantee it's going to be at the next 2 or 3 toy shows you go to. But if you get on eBay, you can usually get that rifle that day. I mean, it might take a little bit of time to, find it for the price or whatnot you're looking for, especially if you're as cheap as I've been lately. But that's why I like it. And with everything going on now with the quarantine situation that we find ourselves in, I don't know. It's given me just an outlet to spend a lot of my time, which I've really enjoyed. Because I spend obviously too much time on my phone during the day, but I spend a lot of time just, looking for the Eco Warriors right now, and it just gives me something to do, and I do appreciate that. So I know in the past, maybe on the show, I've mentioned how I don't enjoy eBay, but I'm sure as heck glad it's around today.
Oh, we definitely have a love-hate relationship with eBay. There's no doubt. I mean, I spent, I don't know, probably 2 hours one night, like looking at mint on card things, and I didn't buy any of it, but it was certainly nice to kind of go down that rabbit hole and help you forget about some of the stuff that's going on in the world right now. Okay, Joe, we have been at this for a while, and if you're listening to the show, it probably hasn't been that long, but because of technical difficulties and other things, it's been quite a while. So let's do one more question tonight for this show, and then we'll answer the rest of them on the next show.
All right, and then we'll talk about my trip to Columbus, Ohio on the next show, and then what do you want to do?
I went up to Erie right after Christmas, so I can kind of share about some of that. Went to the Action Man toy store, and it was it's pretty fun, pretty good trip, and so found some good Joes that day. Pulling up the last one here. This one comes from Road Pig John, and let me just say this: Road Pig is a eBay pickup that I do not regret. He was not perfect, but I got him for the right price, and I'm very, very happy. So it might be one of the few eBay pickups I have.
Oh, hold on. Real quick. Back to eBay. This is another thing that's nice about it. And I think I brought this up last time, is the safe search feature. So getting those emails on those certain items that you're looking for. So every once in a while, you'll snag that deal. You'll check your email in the morning, and somebody will have a buy it now price on there that you're never going to see again. So comes in handy.
Pick it up quick. Okay. So Road Pig John said, hi, File Card Podcast. Hi, John. I would like to know, what are your thoughts about the new Walmart G.I. Joe retro line coming up in a few months? Also, which character you wished you to have as an action figure but never was done from G.I. Joe Pyramid of Darkness miniseries? Joe, the Pyramid of Darkness, that's the one where, some of the time they're up in the space station and they're riding around on the Dreadnoks or on four-wheelers. Do you remember that?
Yeah, it's a great one. But I say we just do half the question right now. I want to go back and rewatch that, and I'll take a little notes, and then I can give a better answer on the next show. How's that sound to you?
That sounds good. The one thing I'll say, though, is I kind of feel like those Mega Marine monsters that were done, years later.
Yes.
I kind of feel like they were, at least the yellowish one, which I don't recall the name, but he's wearing like the yellow pants. I feel like that was kind of rooted there. And
it was
maybe
definitely inspired from it.
Yep. So we'll answer just the first part. And it's awesome that Road Pig asked us this, because this was going to be a topic of one of our shows. So I am so excited about the line, personally. I kind of almost don't care which figures they choose, as long as their O-ring and their paint schemes, or however they paint them up, pay homage to kind of their original intent. So, if they add some detail and that sort of thing, that's awesome. If they're complete repaints, I'm okay with that too. I just want to go into Walmart and buy off the pegs O-ring figures.
I'm in the same boat with you. I don't know what figures it'll be. You kind of look at the 6-inch line and you assume it'll kind of mirror one another, the figure choices that they'll use. And that makes sense. I mean, of course you're going to have Scarlet, Duke, Snake Eyes, Roadblock. Did it say how many figures it was going to be?
I thought 12, but I could be wrong.
Yeah, it seems a little high to me, but I am ecstatic about it, though. I mean, I sent it to you as soon as I saw the tweet about it.
Yeah, it was like 6 o'clock in the morning. I think I was shaving. Right? I mean, it was early when you sent it to me.
Yeah, here's the other thing. I am really hoping it's not. I mean, obviously, the way it's being reported, there's a Walmart exclusive, but I'm hoping it's not just a Walmart exclusive. I'm hoping we have like those, let's say, roughly 6 figures that are the Walmart exclusive, and then they're going to do another half dozen everywhere else. So my dream of it would be, I would order the non-Walmart exclusives from a small toy shop, and I would order those mint on card. And then I would be able to go, or pre-order those, excuse me. And then I would be able to go do the Walmart shopping and then be able to go to the store and hunt those down.
Yeah. So will you buy everything at once? Like, let's say, you know what, 12
Yes.
is probably a number that you and I kicked around that we'd like to see. In fact, now I can recall, I think it is 6, and I was hoping for 12. So you'll just buy all 6 at once?
Only because I'm worried we're not going to see him again. I don't collect Star Wars anymore, but the retro line of Star Wars, from my understanding of all the reports I saw, people I talked to who do collect it, there was much higher demand than there was a supply for them. So if you do run into them, I think you should probably pick them up.
Yeah, I guess I was hoping that it would be, a larger line, and over maybe several weeks or months you could go and pick one up. But yeah, I would honestly, though, if there's only 6, I'm gonna have a hard time not walking out with all 6 if they're there.
Well, here's the other thing: is I am just hoping and I'm believing that they're going to be good. I don't know exactly what figures, and kind of like what you said, I don't care. That these certain standard figures are going to be there, the 4 I already mentioned. And that's awesome, because we all love those characters anyway. Just hope there's a little bit of a new paint scheme to them, or detail or spin to get you excited or renew your interest. I don't think I want to buy the same figure already just repainted, but maybe I do. We'll see. I mean, just depending on how they do it, I guess.
Well, I was a really big fan of the Real American Hero line that they came out with in 2000. Was it like 2004-ish?
Yeah.
Where they came out with the 2-packs. I know some collectors don't like those, but I mean, for the most part, I thought they a lot of the recolors came out very well. They had some detail to their faces, and in particular their faces and some of their chest accessories that on the molds. Like, I think they were really nice figures. So if they could just build off of that, I would be excited.
Yeah, that's one of the other things that I think in those early mid 2000 years, or the last run of the O-rings, we'll put it that way, where they did like the comic packs, where they took the old bodies and then they put a new headed sculpt on them and then repainted them. I don't think Hasbro gets enough credit for that. I mean, I didn't personally love all those paint schemes that they put on them, but they did those for a reason, and that was to match the comic books, so I get that. But I think as collectors, they spent some time, they spent some effort there, and maybe we should appreciate it. And those 6-pack army builders, I mean, those are awesome. I love those still today.
Yeah,
so just that they're out there. It's really hard to go out there and buy the original, or 6 of the original Vipers, but you can buy the 6 of the, the reset pack, for not that much money. Even now, I mean, it was probably only $20 when it came out, and now obviously it's going to cost you more. But I mean, there's deals out there to be found still.
Oh yeah, I mean, you can buy them for about $12 a figure. But that's sealed.
Right, yeah. If you're buying them loose at a show, you can get a lot better deal.
Yeah. I mean, I think Eli was picking them up at Joe Fest last year, the Vipers, for like $5 a piece. They came with like a random weapon. But, if you're trying to do a display for army building purposes, that's perfect. When it comes to the O-ring figures and in the vintage set, I think that if it goes well, it would help maybe keep Eli's interest into it. Mm-hmm. He's not maybe as interested as he used to be. So I think that would maybe spark his interest if he could go to the store and pick new stuff up. So
I'm kind of hoping natural. I think it just kind of comes with age.
Yeah. And I think too, sometimes driving 2 hours to the toy store, in Pittsburgh wears them out too.
I gotcha. That makes sense. This is what I'm really hoping for the O-rings in the upcoming movie, is that they do an O-ring of the movie Snake Eyes. Not that I have any idea what that movie Snake Eyes is going to look like, but just the idea of them doing that really, really excites me.
Like a brand new mold?
A brand new mold.
When's the last time Hasbro themselves produced a brand new O-ring mold?
Early 2000s. I don't know. I mean, holy cow! It was probably even before that.
I mean, they probably have some head sculpts in the
comic book line when they did the 3-packs of the comic book. They did a new head.
Yeah, so there's probably some different heads, but I think for the most part those sculpts were all redos. All right, well, Joe, that's it. We're kind of out of time. I'm probably going to be in some trouble if we don't shut this down pretty soon.
All right. Well, when can you come back and play, Mike?
When I get my permission slip signed, Joe.
All right. Well, try to do that tomorrow.
All right. So the idea is, folks, we're going to try to do one next week. And if we don't do one next week, probably sometime in mid to late September, we'll have one.
No. That cannot be the case. Listen, I asked for questions. The audience was nice enough to give us questions, and then we come here and we pout around and we only answered 2 or 3 of them. We owe them a little more than that. So all right, we're gonna get you back here Monday night.
All right, so we'll do it Monday night. But Joe, people are used to us disappointing. They're not going to be angry.
Well, I would like to change that. I would like to quit disappointing.
We got a lot of work to do.
Yes, we do.
All right, man. Good night.
All right, take care, folks. On a non-G.I. Joe note, I found the Zaxby sauce the extra Zaxby sauce that we bought while we were at Joe Fest today.
Really?
Yeah.
Where'd you find it at?
In a cupboard.
Was it still good?
No, it expired in October, but I still used it.
Oh, that's... Listen, I had just talked into driving to Winchester, Virginia tomorrow.
Just for Zaxby's.
Joe, there's nothing else to do in the world. There is nothing to do. There's nothing to do. If you were ever going to go drive for fast food drive-through, this weekend would be it.